Satya. Good afternoon and welcome all. Today our esteemed guest is Dr. Anu Gopinath. Ma'am is head and professor in chemical oceanography. Ma'am is working at Department of Aquatic Environment Management, Kufus, Kochi. Ma'am is going to deliver the lecture on At the Top of the World. Ma'am, you are audible. Your presentation is visible. Kindly continue.
Is it okay? I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So good afternoon, all. So my Anu. I'm working as a professor in chemical oceanography, and as part of this lecture series, I'll be sharing my experiences as part of the Arctic expedition, North Pole expedition from India. So this expedition was carried out in collaboration with two agencies. One is National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, which is situated in Goa. And this National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, it is under the Ministry of Earth Science, Government of India. And on this right side, you can see the picture of this first institution, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. So this institution, which is situated in Goa, actually this institution is leading India's polar expeditions, basically to the North Pole, to the South Pole, and also to that is South Pole means to Antarctica and also to the coastal Antarctica. And in addition to that, they also conduct research in Himalaya. Himalaya we call as the third pole. And India, as I think you know that India is having a research station in Arctic, just like Antarctica. India is having a research station in the North Pole, and the North Pole research station, it is named as Himadri, and that is situated in a place called New Elsund, and that is situated in Spitsbergen Island, and it is in Norway. And that was this India's first research station in Arctic. It was commissioned in 2008. Now coming to the Indian research stations in Antarctica. So we have two research stations now in Antarctica, Maitri and Bharati. And our first research station in Antarctica was actually Dakshin Gangotri, and Dakshin Gangotri was decommissioned. Now it's not in use, and now we are focusing more on this other two research stations, Maitri and Bharati. And so these are the pictures of Dakshin Gangotri, which was commissioned in 1983. Then we have Maitri, 1989, which is also a bit old. And now we have the another station, new station, which was commissioned in 2013, that is Bharati. Now, if we're going into the experiences, I think I would like to give you an idea about the division of this zones. You must have, we all must have studied that in our school days. So basically, we have three climatic zones. That is the polar zone, the tropical zone, and the temperate zone. So we are now going to discuss about the polar zone. More precisely focusing on the Arctic, the North Pole. So we have the polar region, then we have the temperate zone, then we have the tropics, and then we have the South Pole, which is the Antarctic Circle. And actually, when we think about this North Pole, we should get an idea about the Arctic Circle. The Arctic Circle. So the Arctic Circle is actually, I will discuss that in the coming picture. So in the Arctic Circle, we have 8 countries basically who all are governing the administrative as well as many other issues related to the Arctic. So we have Russia, then as the major group, and then we have Norway, then Finland, Sweden, Iceland, then Greenland, Canada, and also Alaska, part of US. So all these countries are actually the part of Arctic Circle. So all these 8 countries, which I have shown in this Arctic Circle, they have direct access to the Arctic region, to the North Pole, to the Arctic Ocean. So they have, and also they have access to the Arctic resources, both the renewable as well as the non-renewable resources. So these countries are basically controlling the Arctic, the North Pole, or the Arctic Ocean, or the Arctic regions. And Russia is the major power as far as this Arctic Circle is concerned. So since these countries are actually located very close to Arctic, all of these countries are actually having direct research stations in the Arctic, and all these countries, they do conduct a lot of research in the Arctic. Now, this Svalbard is actually very important as far as the North Pole is concerned, and it is actually midway between the continental Norway and the North Pole. And actually, the international research community, not only the Arctic Circle country communities, as well as the researchers from the other regions also, non-Arctic states also, they are actually focusing on this particular area, Svalbard, and this Svalbard is considered as an archipelago, that is a Norwegian archipelago. Archipelago means a group of islands. So Svalbard is actually a part of this Norwegian archipelago, which is situated in the Arctic Ocean, and it is exactly midway between the continental Norway and the North Pole. And we all know that this is the picture of Roald Amundsen. He was a Norwegian explorer, and he was actually one of the greatest figures in the field of polar expeditions. And he made his first entry into the North Pole and also to the South Pole. Actually, he was actually the first person to make his entry into both the South Pole and the North Pole. And this is actually, you can see a very the statue of this Roald Amundsen very close to our research station, Himadri in Norway. So this picture was actually taken by me when I made my first visit to the Arctic. I was actually a part of 3 expeditions to the Arctic, one in 2014, then another one in 2016, and the last one in 2017. And this is how the research stations in Arctic will look like. This is completely in the winter time in Arctic. So you can see a lot of wooden buildings like this, wooden buildings in different colors. And these wooden buildings are actually owned by different countries, non-Arctic countries. Those countries who do not have direct access to do research in the Arctic, they can use this kind of facilities. They can use the buildings for their research stay in the Arctic as part of a MOU signed between the country and the Norwegian government. And this is like being taken on a base lease for a particular year of for a particular duration. Norway and the corresponding country, they will come into an agreement, and then each country will have their own building for the researchers to stay, then to do their sampling, do their analysis, and after that they can come back to their country. So these wooden buildings are actually owned by different countries. And this is actually a country, this is the research station which is owned by the Chinese people. And then we have the Korean station. The Chinese station is actually named as Yellow River. Yellow River, it's a river in China. So the Indian station is named as Himadri. The Chinese station is named as Yellow River. And the Korean station, that is named as Dasen. Then German, they also have another research station, and this is our station, that is Himadri. This is how Himadri will look like from outside. So Himadri was actually, I have told you now, it was started in 2008, commissioned in 2008, and it was done by the Honorable Minister for Science and Technology, the then Minister, Sri Kapil Sibal. And so he went to Arctic, and then he went to Himadri, and then he inaugurated the building, our research station, in 2008. So this is how the entire area will look like. The Svalbard will look like when you enter into this region when it is completely winter. So it is completely covered with ice. And so these are our team members. So this is the first expedition, 2014-15 expedition. So in 2014, we had a member of, we were actually having 9 members, 2 ladies and the rest of the were men. And so we conducted, we were there for approximately 36 days during the first batch of 2014. And this is 2016 batch of expedition. And this is 2000 coming, followed by that, we have another one also in 2017. So apart from me, my students, they are also now actively involved in Arctic research, and from starting from 2018 onwards. So this is one of my student, Dr. Ashwati. She also has visited Arctic 2 times in 2018 and 19 as part of her research, and she completed her PhD thesis on her understanding about the Arctic geochemistry. And following that, one more girl was there in Arctic in 2023, and this year also we are taking part in Arctic expedition in August 2025. Now, this is also one of my student, Anup. He was fortunate in the sense that he could be a part of Arctic expedition and also Southern Ocean expedition. Arctic is in the North Pole and the Southern Ocean is in the South Pole. That is the coastal Antarctica Ocean. Southern Ocean is the coastal Antarctica Ocean. So he was fortunate to be both in the North Pole for Arctic and in the South Pole for Southern Ocean expedition. And in the South Pole, Antarctica, and in Southern Ocean, you can see the picture of this penguins there. Penguins are actually very common in Antarctica. And when you come to Arctic, you cannot see penguin. You can see only polar bears. And the girl in this picture, she is also my student, Dr. Princey. This is a picture from her being a part of her Southern Ocean expedition. Okay, now I have already told you there are many countries who are actively involved in Arctic research. And if you look into this slide, you can see that several countries started their research in the Arctic maybe in 1990s itself. India started only in 2008. So different countries have different names to their stations. I have already told you what is the name of Chinese station. It is Yellow River Station. Korean is Dasan, and Italy it is Dirigible Italia. And Japan is having one station, NIPR, that is National Institute for Polar Research. Then British station is NERC. Then we have AVP also for German and French. They are actually occupying one building together. And this picture I have already told you, and all these buildings are belonging to different countries. So this is our entry into the Arctic in 2017. So this is the place where we make our last flight from India to Norway. So from India to Norway, our last destination is Oslo. So this is from Oslo. So from this Oslo, how to reach into Svalbard? We have to reach into Svalbard to reach up to Himadri. From Oslo airport, we have to go to Svalbard, and from Svalbard we have to move to our research station Himadri. So from Oslo, we have a very small chartered flight with a carry capacity of 10 researchers. So from this, using this chartered flight, we will move from Oslo to Svalbard. So depending upon the availability of seat, people from research researchers from different countries, they will occupy this chartered flight, and we will be together, we will move to Svalbard. And whenever you enter into Arctic, I have told you that as far as Antarctica is concerned, it is the penguins. And for Arctic, one of the threat as part of this Arctic research is that we need to be very much careful about the polar bears. So the polar bears are actually very huge, and then maybe weighing up to this 400 kg, 400 kilogram, and they can run fast and they can swim also. Very fast runners as well as very fast swimmers. So what happens is that when you go to the field as part of this Arctic research, you have to be very careful about the polar bears. So whenever a researcher is entering into Arctic, the first thing that we are given, the training that we are given in this Arctic is that they will give us a training on this use of this rifles and guns. They will take you to to a place where we don't have direct access with the researchers, and then trainers are there, and the trainers will give us training on this rifles and this guns. So you can see on the right side, the researcher is going into the field, and then he is carrying, because even though we are given a training for maximum 2 to 3 days, we are very sure that we are not in a position to attack the bear, but this is only for our safety. So whenever we have an encounter with this polar bears, we have to inform the authorities, the Norwegian authorities or the authorities which are handling the research station, and so they will take measures to prevent the attack. And also they have their own monitoring system. Every day they have their own monitoring system, and they will be having monitoring, and then they will be giving us information on a daily basis whether there is any possibility of this polar bear coming very close to the research stations. So these are actually the different training sessions that we have to undergo as part of this rifle related activities. And then this is very compulsory that for every field work we have to take this. Okay. And in Himadri, whenever you do the research and other things, whenever you go for field work, there is a small laboratory facility is also there in Himadri, where you can do very small analytical part as part of your research activity. And in that Himadri itself, we also have a very small computer room for all the researchers who are taking part in the research. And in addition to the small lab in Himadri, in this community, in this research community, we also have a very big lab, which we call as the marine lab. And this marine lab is actually under a company called Kings Bay, and this Kings Bay comes under Norway. So all the research activities in this particular Svalbard region related to all the countries are being actually handled by this Kings Bay. This particular, the payment and other things, our entry and then our departure, our sample collection, our sample sending back to India, everything is actually being handled by this company, Kingsway. Now, as part of this chemical oceanography, or since I'm a part of this oceanography work which is being carried out in Arctic, we always use water samplers and sediment samplers to collect samples, because our prime focus is on the chemistry of this water and sediment. So our prime focus is on to collect the water sample and to collect the sediment. And you can see very next to me, you can see this plastic tube-like things, and we call it as the Niskin. How many of you have seen this Niskin sampler? So this Niskin samplers are actually basically used by the oceanographers to collect water samples from deeper depths in the ocean. Using this winch, you can adjust the depth from where you have to collect the water, and then even up to 1,000 or 2,000 meters, up to what depth if you want to collect the water, you can use this water sampler. It has a specific mechanism to open at that particular depth and to immediately getting closed after the collection. So that is why we use this kind of samplers in open ocean sampling. And the operations the operations that we carry out during this sampling. And we use different kind of oceanographic instruments in this fjord. And these are all these are oceanographic operations which are carried out by us during the different sampling periods in 2016 and also in 2017. Now, in addition to water samples, we also carry sediment samples also from different depths. And you can see there is another instrument which is going down deep into the water. And we call this as the grab. And the grabs are basically used for collecting the sediments. Grabs are basically used to collect the sediment. It's like the water sample I have told you, which can collect water from different depths. Grabs can also be operated into different depths within the water column, and it can collect the sediments from deep inside. Okay. These are some of the pictures of these organisms which we have separated from the sediments. These are basically the bottom dwelling organisms which we call as the benthic organisms, and the pictures of these benthic organisms which has been collected from different depths in the water column. And also you can operate the nets as part of the biological oceanography. You can operate nets to collect phytoplanktons and also to collect zooplanktons from different depths of the water column. And as part of the research, some of the researchers are also involved in this snow sampling, because if it is winter, it is completely covered with ice, so that to many of the areas you can just walk by. You should be cautious, because since it is completely covered with ice, we don't know whether what is deep inside this ice, so that most of the researchers, especially researchers from India who are working on the black carbon, atmospheric black carbon and black carbon emissions into the ice, they are actually very much interested to collect the snow samples from different parts of Arctic. And in addition to that, whenever we enter into Arctic as part of this research, all the Indian researchers are supposed to spend around 36 to 40 days as part of their research in the Arctic. So what happens is that as part of this research in the Arctic, what happens is that we are actually working in a very cold environment continuously for this particular period. So we may be having a lot of fat intake, and then most of the food items are mainly having a lot of fat content. So whenever you want to work on this gym and other things, they also, as part of the research community, they also have created a very small gym facility. So in that gym facility, they can we can go there, and then we can have our workout. And also on the left side of this slide, you can see a very small shop. I'm sitting in front of a small shop. Why this small shop is there in the research community is that, see, we know that we are into the research community and we are there for 36 to 40 days. And as part of our rules and regulations, we are not supposed to carry around more than 20 kg when you are a part of this expedition. So what happens is that during this period of this, you are stay there. If you want anything to purchase, very basic things, not other things like many other type of clothes or so many other shopping like that. Very basic things like maybe the toothpaste or the soap, or many other very important things if you want to purchase. The King's Bay company, the Norwegian company, they have also kept a very small shop also there, which they will open for the research communities twice in a week for a period of 1 hour, maybe more evening 1 hour, twice in a week. They will open this shop, and if you are in need of any emergency objects, you can go and then you can purchase. And what happens if your country is not in a position to have a research station in Arctic? So having a research station in Arctic is a very expensive business. So not all countries can afford to have a research station in Arctic. As we know, our government, India government, is actually very much interested in this polar research, and for Arctic and Antarctic research, our Ministry of Earth Science and this National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, they are actually pumping in a lot of money for Arctic research. So our country can afford the station, and we are actually sending around 30 to 40 researchers every year. 30 to 40 researchers every year to Arctic, because we have the station Himadri. They can stay there and they can do the research. And suppose our country is not another country which is not having a research station in the Arctic. Say, for example, we can take an example of Bangladesh. They don't have a research station in the Arctic. So in that case, what they can do? Suppose a person want to do research in the Arctic. So there is also a very small facility which we call as the North Pole Fortlet. Another wooden building in that same area, they have Kings Bay Company. They have converted that into a what you call a hotel, and in that hotel, the researcher, the country, the researcher or the country where he belongs, they can pay the money, and then they can stay in that hotel, and then they can do the research there. That is also another possibility. Now coming to this one, this is actually a post office, and so this post office is actually there in Arctic, and this you can call it as the northernmost post office in the world, or a post office on the top of the world. So why this post office is there? Actually, you have seen a lot of wooden buildings. Now I have told you that it belongs to different countries as part of their research expedition. So this post office actually, it is there because all the wooden buildings were actually used by the coal miners. So this region, the Svalbard and this archipelago, it is actually very important, or it is having a very huge source of this coal. So as part of their, as part of the World War, the Second World War, this area was actually used by the gold mining community. This area was actually used by the gold mining community, the mining community. So for the stay of this mining community, they have constructed this wooden building. This wooden buildings, what we have seen in that picture, all the wooden buildings were used by the coal miners as part of the World War. And what happened is that suddenly there was a very big accident which happened in this mining community. So immediately after this accident, the Norwegian government has decided to close it, the mining operations to be closed. So after several years, the Norwegian government decided that this mining or the wooden buildings that they have created, it can be used for research purpose. It can be used for research purpose, and it can be shared with the international group also on a payment basis. So this post office is actually not for the researchers. This post office was there when the mining people were there. So this post office was used by the mining people at that time. So now what they have done is that they have kept the post office as such. So what happens is that a lot of in addition to the researchers, now we know that we are having a lot of tourist operations both to Arctic and as well as to Antarctic. Those who are going to Greenland and other areas, they have the provision to visit the Svalbard research stations. Only thing is that they cannot enter into any of the research stations. If you are an Indian and if you see Himadri, you cannot enter into Himadri. You can watch Himadri from outside. But the research station, the post office, and all the other things, the wooden buildings, everything is actually, it can be viewed by the tourist people from outside. So what happens, the researchers, the tourist people who are making their tour programs into the northern part, they also have the provision to make a visit to this research community, maybe not for the entire day, maybe maximum for 2 to 3 hours. Immediately they will go back their ship. They are actually coming to this region through ship. So they will enter to this place, and then after making the visit for 2 to 3 hours, then they will go back to the ship and they will continue their travel. So as part of those tourist activities, this is very important. This post office is very important because people are very much attracted towards this facility. And this is also a train which is kept in that particular region, because this train is there because I have already told you that it has been used by the mining community. It has been used by the mining community. So what happens? The mining operations, the train was used during the mining operations. So even after the disaster and even after several years of this incident, that company, they have kept that train like that, so that the tourist people, they do have a lot of interest in visiting these kind of things. Now, another thing is that this is a common dining hall as part of the research community. See, when you are into Arctic, another important thing is that Indian researchers are there in Himadri, then Chinese researchers are there in Yellow River Station, then Koreans are there in Dasan, Italians are there, Japanese are there, Germans are there, many are there. So no country is allowed to do any kind of cooking in their own buildings. You are not supposed to make any food in your own building. There is a common mess hall. You have to use that common mess hall, because if you cook food, and then especially if you are cooking some spicy food and other things, there is a very possibility that these animals like polar bears and others will get attracted towards the research community. So that is a threat. So what happens is that all the research countries, or all those countries who are sending researchers, they have to make payment for the food of the researchers also. So they have to take the food from this common mess hall only. Nothing is allowed in your room. They have a common timing also. Breakfast is from 7 to 7:30. Then lunch is from 12:30 to 1. And the evening dinner, the dinner will be over by 5 p.m., 4:30 to 5 p.m. Before 5 p.m., the dinner will also be over. So that like that, you have to arrange your research and other activities to adjust with their timings. And as part of the research, you always get a lot of opportunities to interact with scientists from other countries also. He's the person on this right hand side who is very tall. He's Martin Lunan, and he is doing a lot of research on Arctic birds, the migratory patterns of these Arctic birds, which we call as the Arctic terns. Now, these are some of the animals apart from polar bears, which are very common in Arctic. The reindeer is there, and then the seal is there, and then walrus is there, and the small bird, you can see the white bird, it is Arctic tern. So Arctic tern is one bird which is actually flying the longest distances, that is from north to south, and then from south to north. Even though it's a very small bird, it is actually flying a very long distance. So these are the seals, then walrus, then reindeer. This reindeer, you can see that now it is having a brown color. So this brown color, it is in actually in the summer. In summer, it is having this brown color, and then in winter, it will have some white color. So that it has different colors in different seasons. And so this is the polar bear, which is the main attraction of Arctic researchers. And what are actually now, as far as now Arctic is concerned, the major issue now Arctic is facing now is that the melting of this permafrost. Permafrost is the ice-covered regions in the Arctic. So we have different regions: the Russian Arctic, the Canadian Arctic, the Norwegian Arctic, like that. So whatever be the region, you can see that the permafrost is actually marked in different colors of this blue. So one of the, as part of the climate change issues, one of the serious issue that Arctic is facing is the melting of this permafrost. So less ice in the Arctic is actually going to have a very serious issue, that is more spread of different varieties of diseases. See, for example, those who were completely eradicated earlier. So there is every chance that once the permafrost is melting, it is unlocking a lot of diseases, because many of the microbes which are deep buried within this ice. So with the melting of this ice and the spreading of this ice melt waters across the globe, there is every chance that this can contaminate the things globally, not only in the Arctic. And again, also, when the ice caps are melting, another issue that is going to happen is that the sea level rise and the inundation of the land masses, especially in the lower latitude. Even though the melting is happening in the higher latitude, that is the Arctic. So the spreading of this melt water around the globe, that can also seriously affect the lower latitudes, also those who are living in the tropics also, in terms of sea level rise and inundation of this land mass. And the studies are already showing that this Antarctic ice is actually melting at an average rate of about 150 billion tons per uh, year, and the Greenland is also losing about 280 billion tons of ice per year. So everything is actually adding to the sea level rise. So actually, the melting is considered to be almost 6 times faster than that were in the 1990s. So these are some of the effects of ice melt or the climate change related melting of this Arctic as well as the Antarctic ice coverage. The first one is that the albedo effect. So that when the ice is melting at a very fast rate, so that means the reflection of the solar light, when it touches the ice covered regions, it will get reflected. So when the ice is actually decreasing day by day, the albedo effect is actually going to increase. Then again, apart from the microbial release, a lot of carbon is actually buried deep inside this ice, what we call as the permafrost. So when the ice is melting, there is every possibility that there can be the release of this greenhouse gases like methane. So what is the effect of this methane? We already know that methane is a greenhouse gas. So that means it is actually adding on to the greenhouse effect as well as to the global warming. So the melting of ice is due to increase in temperature. So that melting is actually going to release more and more methane, which is deeply buried in the ice. So that methane, as we know, it's again a greenhouse gas, so that it will again complement to global warming and greenhouse effect. Okay. So it will increase the water vapor and also it will increase the warming of rivers. So this is actually a comparison between my own pictures, which was taken in 2014 and 2017. So why this picture? First one was taken in 2014 June, and second one was taken in 2017 June. So you can see that both are actually the beginning of the summer in the Arctic, beginning of the summer month in the Arctic. So you can see that in 2014 June, almost all the area, it was completely covered by ice. The glaciers, everything was completely covered by ice. And when we move on to 2017, actually the amount of this ice coverage is found to be decreasing. And what we can see is that warming as well as the melting of ice is actually happening in the Arctic. So one of the issue which is apart from this melting and then sea level rise and other things, one of the issue that the polar territories are actually facing as part of this global warming is that the long range transport of this pollutants from the lower latitudes to the higher latitudes. See, what we have seen is that the melting of ice in the higher latitude, bringing in a lot of water to the lower latitude, and that is actually contributing to the sea level rise in the lower latitude. Then another issue, which is rivers, is that whatever chemicals are actually being generated in the lower latitude. See, for example, in the tropical as well as in the temperate zone, maybe the persistent organic pollutants or heavy metals or mercury or microplastics or whatever be the thing, or black carbon, whatever is generated in the lower latitude, maybe in the European or in the other Asian countries, they will get transported into the higher latitudes, that is both to the South Pole and to the North Pole. And we call it as the long range transport of pollutants, long range transport of pollutants, or the poleward transport of pollutants. So this poleward transport or the long range transport of pollutants to the poles are actually now being studied globally. That is now being studied globally, and there is a large number of reports which are coming out now, which is revealing the presence of persistent organic pollutants, then mercury, microplastics, then nanoplastics, already there in the ice-covered regions of Arctic as well as Antarctic. So this is a very important, serious issue. That is the migration of these kind of persistent organic pollutants, because why they are actually able to fly to the higher latitude is that most of them we can classify them into three categories. The flyers, the single hoppers, and the multiple hoppers. So flyers are basically volatile chemicals, that is they will get easily vaporized. Then single hoppers means they are not that much volatile, low volatility, and they are predominantly associated with the aerosols, the polyfluorinated compounds. The first one is the chlorofluorocarbons. Then we have the multiple hoppers also. They are also semi-volatiles, and there is every possibility of their exchange happening between the atmosphere and the surface, polyaromatic hydrocarbons. So most of the chemicals, not only organic pollutants, all those mercury, toxic heavy metals like mercury, which has the volatile nature, they always show a tendency to move from the lower latitudes to the higher latitude. So that is one of the major issue that is being faced by the polar regions globally. So that is why we are pumping in a lot of money into the Arctic research, because the first thing is that the Arctic, the climate change, the melting of ice is actually going to affect the even the monsoon, the pattern of monsoon in the tropical region, and it is going to contribute to the sea level rise in the tropical region. Then the second one is that whatever chemicals and other pollutants which is getting generated in the tropical and the temperate region or in the lower latitude, that is getting transported into the poles. So both are actually very important as far as the community or the life of the not only human beings, the other organisms are also concerned. So these are some of our reports, my own studies from both from Southern Ocean. This is from coastal Antarctica. Coastal Antarctica. So you can see that there is the presence of this pesticides, organochlorine pesticides, and also some kind of urea pesticides, what we commonly use in the Asian countries. There is the presence of these kind of pesticides in Southern Ocean, in the samples collected from Southern Ocean. And coming to the plastic also, microplastic, this is also from our own study. We could detect the presence of this microplastics both from the Arctic Ocean sediments and also from the Southern Ocean sediments. So you can see some of the pictures of this microplastic fragments, which we could separate from both from the Arctic and also from the Southern Ocean, the fiber, the fragment, the film, and the bead type of microplastics, which we could generate from both regions. So this is also my own picture from the Arctic expedition, the last expedition, which was conducted in 2017. So thank you. Hello, may I know who is coordinating? Hello? If you want to discuss anything, you can raise your questions.